Hi everyone, this is Harry Hoffmann, Global Member Care Network, and today I want to talk about crisis response and crisis management and 3 responses, reactions, 3 things to deal with crisis response. Okay, let's get started. Number 1 is you need psychosocial support. You need the emotional connection with people who are suffering, who are victims of a crisis. You need this empathy, the open heart, the connection, the understanding, listening to your story, be empathetic. Wow, this is hard. Like attunement is another word, to attune with people as a caregiver after a crisis. We've been involved in earthquakes and disasters relief, and we've been involved in accidents and the first aid, the crisis response first aid is to be there, to be part, to provide safety and attunement with the victims of a disaster or a crisis. Number 2 is crisis management. You need people after a crisis, after an accident, after any form of disaster, crisis. You need people who manage the crisis. These kind of people is a separate category from the psychosocial support people. These kind of people, they make decisions. They are not attuned to the emotional needs of the victims and the pain. They are managing. They are sort of emotionally rather detached. They sort out burials. They sort out the media. They are in charge of coordinating relief goods. They are in touch with family, with government, with embassies, insurances. They make decisions and decisions and decisions. And these people need to be trained and equipped to keep everybody, like to keep the boat floating, to make sure that the relief goods actually end up where they are supposed to end up. We've had that after the Sichuan earthquake in China. A place ended up having this coordination role. So the first contact, how can we help people in the earthquake region? Everyone contacted these specific people. And they coordinated trainings, they coordinated language translations, they coordinated relief goods, they were in touch with the government, who is allowed to go into the earthquake zone, how are the roads, can you get there actually, is it safe to go there, how can we support and complement the other efforts that are already being on their way, etc. So they had this coordination role, management role, not so much the psychosocial support role. And number 3 is your faith, are your values, is your theology, so to say, in regards to the risk and the crisis. In Christian terms, that's called theology of risk. In value terms, it is, how far can you go in risking your life? What is responsible behavior? What is irresponsible behavior? What does your embassy say about your behavior? Will your embassy support you in your behavior, or will they not support you? So as you go into a war zone, into an earthquake zone, you put yourself at risk. What do you think about this? What do your relatives say about this? Your support base, your organization, your nation, your national government say about this? And there is a whole, in relief work, there is a whole variety of values there. Some people just go and they risk their life, and that's okay. It's okay for them as individuals to risk their lives. For others, it's you risking your life. The safety of a person is of highest priority. And so there are different measures and different consequences to these kind of risking life behavior. And people need to be aware of that actually ahead of time, not afterwards. Because then you have teams after a disaster or after an accident, you have organizations and teams that evacuate right away. And others, they stay and they live with this kind of risk. And so this not only has consequences for the individuals and their family members, but also on the community, how foreigners are viewed in a specific nation, and also your media and your nation is involved. So faith, values, theology of risk, this kind of area, then management, the cognitive making decisions that keep the boat afloat, the relief and the crisis care response boat afloat. And then you have the psychosocial support of people who are attuned with the victims, who care for the victims, who cry with those who cry and grieve and care. And so these three things are so important after crisis and also before crisis, to consider: who are we? Do we have everything in place to respond to a crisis? And then afterwards to evaluate after the crisis, how did we do? How did we do? Did we do a good job in all these three areas? Were we in unison in our values? Did the crisis response boat was afloat or not? And how was our attunement with those who were victimized by the disaster? All right, I hope this is helpful, and next time I see you again in this Member Care Toolbox channel. Bye for now.